Iron Studio here, and this video I'm going to bring a quick guide on the good old Druid here. I see a lot of people saying the Druid is super underwhelming and it's really weak, and I'm here to tell you guys it is not true. You just have to get the correct legendaries and you have to get level 25. Druid is kind of like the Barb where it scales really well. It is not very strong for leveling and requires specific legendary powers. Especially anything doing Pulverize is really powerful, which I'm about to show in this video here. I'm basically able to one-shot even elites with my 8 hours play Druid here with kind of just average gear, right? I have not farmed the 35 guy at all for high-end gear. All the gear I have here is just things I've gotten from the world boss and of course from dungeons themselves. My gear is still super underwhelming with like 450 attack power, so I can still almost double my DPS basically if I get some really good items. What Druid has, which I'm about to show you later, is this really good legendary affixes. You have to get the correct powers for the legendaries because they have really high multipliers, and that's really neat to make this build work. That is what Druid needs. Now, it's very important you get these before it actually can function. So anything with leveling is kind of good with like Tornado or Pulverize. And yes, I was also weak on my Druid before I got these legendaries, but it's very important you get these if you want to just one-shot stuff like I do here. I almost two-shot the boss in here. I'm one-shotting most of the big elites as well. And it's just 8 hours of playing this character. I can still get a ton more damage than this guy. I have 0 upgrades on any of my gear as well. So when you hear people saying that Druid is weak, don't be alarmed. It is actually not weak at all. It just requires more time, more commitment, and more gearing and more legendaries. So if you like the Druid and the theme of it, definitely just keep playing it. Get some good stuff, for instance, for Pulverize or Tornado, as these seem to have some really good multipliers in terms of legendaries. So let's show you the build now and see everything you need to make this work. Now, fair warning, there will be quite a few legendaries that are really important for this to work. But the main thing to have is the one with Pulverize creates a shockwave that travels forward, dealing X damage on his path towards his target. This is a really good item if you get it at any point during your leveling or anytime we hit level 25. This is by far the best one for Pulverize. And everything else I have is also basically there to support Pulverize or make it stronger. If you get this one, you can start playing Pulverize. Before that, I would highly recommend playing Tornado or Landslide. But Pulverize with this one, I was about level 18 I think when I got this, and I got Pulverize with this legendary affix here, and it was really strong even level 18. To get this and you're good. And of course, besides that, we have things to basically synergize with this. Our boots here, of course, try and get the evade and the moon speed on evade because I have almost no mobility without this. Very important getting that. And of course, on the secondary here, it's not really that important having this legendary affix here. It's basically just more crowd control, and it can also spread. And our pants here, I have the duration of earth and bulwark increased, which of course is how I generate my fortified, which is also another thing I will show you later. Fortified is really good. Basically in here, when our chest piece, when you have fortified, you get earth skill +2. And of course on my gloves here, I have it so the Pulverize is now an earth skill. So you can see these 3 items here synergize really well with each other and gives me a ton of damage. And I basically get 3 fortified and also get 2 levels of my Pulverize for free because of these items here combining. On my helmet, I also have damage from earth skill slows enemies by 50%. On my necklace, I have damage increase per X amount of primary resource when cast. On the ring, I have it so my blood hull increase my critical strike chance. Basically gives me 10% crit chance at all times. And then here on my ring, I have it so my earth skills deal 43% more crit damage to crowd control enemies. As mentioned before, our boots here have crowd control. So you see all we're doing here is doing damage to crowd controlled. We're getting fortified, or we're somehow getting earth skill or Pulverize skill. These are not difficult items to get, guys. It took me, what, 8 hours of playing? That's also with leveling, by the way. So maybe what, like 4 hours, 5 hours, so actually like being level 25. And I have all of these. You can still get way better. These are not that perfect at all. There are definitely better things out there. I can definitely change some of these around for sure. But as long as you have the improved Pulverize, with this out here making it a earth skill, and the +2 fortified with earth, it's really good starter. So how do we make this all work? Let's look at the skill tree, shall we? So the first stuff we start with is of course Storm Strike. This seems to be the best one by far of all the Druid ones because it also gives you mobilize and also vulnerable. This is really good. You basically stack vulnerable on all the monsters by having this fierce Storm Strike here. And I got, of course, full stacked up Pulverize, enhanced Pulverize, and then raging Pulverize. Basically, I stun them with the overpowered. Of course, also ties into my whole thing of my chain CCing of crowd control. It all utilizes and synergizes well together. I've also have 1 point and a half the wild just to get 3 points in abundance for more spirit regen. The only thing this build is kind of lagging is a bit of mobility. Since I have to use Earth and Bulwark for mobility, you can of course play with Trample for the mobility of it, but it's kind of difficult to fit that in also with the items I have. I'm sure there will be some kind of way later on when I actually play the character a bit more, but I definitely like a bit of mobility and then also Spirit Regen. I haven't seen anything that's increased your spirit regen that much. So anything to do with increased basic skill regen and of course attack speed, until to get one of those attack speed with my builders. Those are really good legendary affixes. So basically I just went down here. These were a bit later. I got these, by the way. If you're like lower level, don't really worry about these until later on. I of course got my Earth and Bulwark, Enhanced Bulwark, and then Preserving Earth and Bulwark, which gives me the Fortify effect. And this base lasts for 9 seconds, right? I need to have some kind of Fortified, otherwise I don't get this into an Earthen skill. If I don't have Fortify, my Pulverize will not become Earthen, and so it gives me high uptime of Fortify. Currently I'm playing Earth and Bulwark. I'm pretty sure there's something else better out there once you get a bit more understanding how this class works. Of course, also the Blood Howl with the reduced cooldown here, and then the generating 20 spirit. Basically, doing the fights themselves, you have full uptime of this. This generates a lot of spirit, and of course my ring gives me 10% crit chance, and of course crit chance is very good for this kind of build because we hit very slow, but we want to hit as high as we can. So crit chance, crit damage is very strong for us. Went down here, got Vine Creeper, Enhanced Vine Creeper, and then Brutal Vine Creeper as well. Again, more crit chance. You can see where we're going with, right? We are stacking pulverized damage, fortified things, and crit chance and crit damage. These are like the main components of this build here. You want to hit slow, not that often, but really hard. That's why crit chance, crit damage is so important for this. Then I went down and I got my Grisly Rage with Prime Grisly Rage and of course Supreme Grisly Rage. This gave me of course a ton of damage from the ultimate, and of course also that Fortified while having the ultimate running. Fortified needed as well, of course, to make a earthen spell out of Pulverize. So everything here is pretty good synergy, and actually it works quite well together. I'm sure that I'm going to do some more tweaking just later on, but it's currently the build I'm playing right now. I'm sure I can find some kind of better way, maybe to get more fortified without using 3 points for this. We will find out later on for sure. But so far this is working really well. I am blasting everything down. Elites, trash monsters, bosses, everything is just dying. It's melting now that since I actually have all this gear made. But yes, it will be weak before I get to this point. Like a lot of people are complaining about the weakness of Druid, and yes, it is not very strong. But legendary powers here, look at that, 260% damage. You get 2 more of your Earth skills, right? There are some really good core things in here. It gives you a ton of increased damage, right? 43% more crit damage to crowd control enemies. That's wild. A lot of classes don't really have legendaries that are this strong in terms of how high the numbers go. That's where the strength of the Druid is. You have to get to the 25, and you have to get the correct legendary powers and combine them for synergy. Before I get to this, it won't be that strong at all. Let's hear leveling. I think my leveling build was like, of course, still Storm Strike, the same Fierce Storm Strike. And then I had Tornado as well. I was playing a Tornado build while leveling. But once I got my Pulverized Weapon, I swapped immediately and I just started blasting. And as you can see, while it might not be the quickest build in the game, it hits like a truck. It is really hard. It's very satisfying to play with. It's so crunchy when it like just destroys targets like one shots in lead or a boss, whatever. And I'd highly recommend actually trying this build out. It will take some commitment and some time to make it, but if you are a Druid player and really want to make Druid work for you, this Pulverize build here with these kind of legendaries is really strong. And I'm sure you can make this build to start with, and of course you can branch out for that and make any other build as well. But this build here seems like a really good starter for me. Just getting a few legendaries for Pulverize will be enough to start with for sure. Like, to be honest, as long as you have the one to Pulverize makes a shockwave, you are good. That'll be more than enough until the 25. Get some more powers. That one is more than enough to start with for sure while leveling and stuff. I hope this video showed a little bit of what Druid can actually do. My gear is still very average, as I said before. I'm gonna pump this character up a little bit more. I will start hitting a lot harder very soon. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you want more of my Diablo 4 content, make sure to watch the screen now, as I think you'll also really enjoy that one. And I'll see you over there. Peace out, homies.